For more than 50 years, every Sunday in Orchard Park has looked the same. 71,000 people braving the cold, the wind and the heartbreak just to see the Buffalo Bills. This is Highmark Stadium, opened in 1973, and this is its final season. Because right across the street, something new is rising. A $2.2 billion stadium designed to handle Buffalo's brutal winters. Is being paid for with the largest public subsidy in NFL history, $850 million in taxpayer money. The old stadium isn't collapsing, it isn't unsafe, so why is it being torn down? And why is Buffalo, one of the league's smallest markets, paying such a staggering price to replace it? Those questions don't just tell the story of football, they reveal what it takes to keep an NFL team in today's game. Before we look at the future, we need to stop in the present, because this year is about more than construction, it's about goodbye. The 2025 season is the Bills' farewell at Highmark Stadium. After 52 years, this place is closing its doors for good. The final regular season game will be played in January 2026. After that, the wrecking crews will move in. But until then, every kickoff here feels heavier. The season opened under the lights with a Sunday night matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, a deliberate choice to spotlight the start of the end. Fans know they're witnessing history. Every ticket stub, every tailgate, every snowstorm feels like part of a final chapter. This stadium has been the backdrop for some of football's most unforgettable moments. Scott Norwood's wide right in Super Bowl 25. 4 straight Super Bowl appearances in the 90s. The Music City miracle that stunned Bills fans in 2000. Decades of heartbreak, followed by the hope that came with Josh Allen, who transformed from a raw rookie here into one of the NFL's most electric quarterbacks. It's a building full of scars and memories, where a championship has always felt just out of reach. And now, only 9 home games remain. Which brings us back to the question, if this old stadium still works, why is Buffalo tearing it down? And why should taxpayers help cover nearly $1 billion of the bill? The answer starts with business, not nostalgia. Highmark Stadium opened in 1973. By the 2020s, it was showing its age in ways the NFL could no longer ignore. The concourses are narrow. The luxury boxes, once cutting edge, now feel cramped compared to the lounges and clubs fans expect today. Medical and training facilities were outdated in a league where player safety has become paramount. Even basic accessibility, from elevators to restrooms, lagged behind modern standards. In short, the stadium worked, but it no longer competed. And in the NFL, that matters. As the Bills' lease approached its end, the team's owners, Terry and Kim Pegula, began negotiating with state and county officials. What started as conversations about repairs quickly turned into debates over a new stadium entirely. And hanging over those talks was a familiar shadow: relocation. The NFL has a long history of teams moving when cities refuse to fund new venues. Other cities were being mentioned. Buffalo had already lost teams before, and no one wanted to see history repeat itself. By March 2022, the deal was struck. New York State and Erie County agreed to put up $850 million in taxpayer money, at the time the largest public subsidy for a stadium in U.S. history. The Pegulas would contribute the rest, bringing the total project to $2.2 billion. The reaction was immediate and divided. Supporters said it was the price of keeping the Bills in Buffalo for the next 30 years. Critics called it corporate welfare, taxpayer money going to billionaire owners while public budgets were under strain. But the deal was signed, and with it, Buffalo committed to one of the smallest stadiums in the NFL at one of the highest costs ever paid. That paradox, spending $2.2 billion for a stadium with only about 62,000 seats, leads to the real story. How do you build a venue tough enough for Buffalo winters? Ground was broken in June 2023 directly across the street from Highmark Stadium. By April 2025, the steel frame was topped out in a ceremony attended by New York Governor Kathy Hochul and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. From that moment on, the new stadium wasn't just renderings, it was real. The architects, Populous, face two of the toughest challenges in sports design: snow and wind. Buffalo gets nearly 100 inches of snow a year, far more than almost any other NFL city. The old solution was fans literally shoveling out their own seats, but in a $2.2 billion stadium, that won't do. So the new design includes a massive canopy that will cover about 60% of the seating bowl. It doesn't just deflect snow, it's embedded with hydronic heating systems and sensors that activate automatically, melting ice before it can accumulate. Think of it as airport runway technology scaled to a football stadium. Then there's the wind. Highmark Stadium has long been one of the hardest places in the league for kickers because swirling gusts made the ball unpredictable. The new design takes that challenge head-on. Team owner Terry Pegula even said the goal was to science the wind out of the stadium. To do it, engineers incorporated thousands of perforations into the exterior shell, especially on the southwest side where the strongest winds blow. These openings scatter gusts before they reach the bowl, softening the turbulence without fully enclosing the venue. But the weather fixes are only part of the story. Under the surface, the project is a showcase of advanced construction technology. The engineering firm Thornton Tomasetti built ultra-detailed 3D Tekla models of the 23,000-ton steel frame before a single beam was fabricated. That digital-first approach, known as advanced project delivery, allowed contractors to pre-plan every bolt and connection, speeding up assembly and giving more cost certainty on one of the NFL's most expensive projects. And the steel itself tells the story. Nearly all 25,000 tons are being sourced from mills in New York using an electric arc furnace process that recycles scrap into new beams. This method produces about 75% less carbon than traditional steelmaking, a nod to sustainability in a project otherwise dominated by concrete and steel. Inside, the focus shifts to fans. Yes, the new stadium will be smaller than the old Highmark by nearly 9,000 seats. But every one of those 62,000 seats will be wider, with better sightlines and easier access to concessions. Radiant heating is being built into parts of the facility to take the edge off late-season cold, and the canopy doubles as an acoustic weapon, trapping noise and driving it back toward the field. The goal is to make Buffalo not just one of the coldest home field advantages in the NFL, but also one of the loudest. All of this explains the paradox. Buffalo's new stadium will be one of the NFL's smallest, but also one of its most expensive. Because what it's really buying isn't size, it's engineering solutions to the snow, the wind, and the identity of one of the league's most die-hard fan bases. While Buffalo builds its weather-defying fortress, it's not the only city pouring billions into a new NFL home. But line these projects up side by side, and you see three very different engineering philosophies. Like the Bills, the Titans are also replacing an aging stadium with a new venue scheduled to open in 2026. But Nashville is taking the opposite approach. Instead of braving the elements, they're sealing them out entirely with a fixed translucent dome made of ETFE, the same high-tech polymer used in stadiums like SoFi in Los Angeles. If Buffalo's $850 million subsidy raised eyebrows, Tennessee set a new record, $1.26 billion in public money, the largest handout for any stadium in U.S. history. The payoff? A climate-controlled, all-weather venue designed to host Super Bowls, college football playoffs, and major concerts, events Buffalo's partially open-air design won't be as suited for. In Florida, the Jaguars are taking yet another path. Instead of building new, they're committing $1.4 billion to a futuristic renovation of their existing stadium. As of September 2025, early construction is underway. Fans already notice detours and heavy equipment outside the stadium. But the real transformation begins after this season, when seating capacity will shrink and the team eventually relocates temporarily, likely to Orlando, during the most intense construction phases. The Jaguars' design is dominated by a sweeping translucent canopy that will shield every seat, cutting solar heat by more than 70% while still keeping an open-air feel. The renovation will also expand concourses to be 4 times wider, add elevated terraces, and modernize the entire experience, all while reusing the stadium's structural bowl to cut down on the carbon footprint of total demolition. Put them together, and you get 3 very different answers to the same question. Nashville is betting on the versatility of a dome. Jacksonville is prioritizing sun protection and sustainability through renovation. And Buffalo is leaning into its identity, building a smaller, open-air fortress that doesn't just survive its climate, but takes on snow and wind as design challenges to be engineered out. All 3 projects are about more than football. They're about billions in investment, civic pride, and the infrastructure required to anchor a team for decades. But Buffalo Stadium stands apart. Not a dome, not a luxury spectacle, but a weather-defying engineering statement designed for one of the NFL's toughest environments. Buffalo's new stadium is set to open in time for the 2026 season, but the vision for it stretches far beyond 8 home games a year. Syracuse University has already explored playing select college games here. Concerts, conventions, and regional events that never fit the old stadium will finally have a home. And yet the fate of the old Highmark Stadium is already sealed. Under the lease agreement, it must be demolished by March 2027. Erie County plans to spend around $15 million on the teardown, replacing 5 decades of history with 3,000 new parking spaces. A small memorial will remain, but most of the building and the memories it held will be gone. That leaves Buffalo with something rare in the NFL. A clean break. An old era ends and a new one begins, literally across the street. The stakes are enormous. Buffalo is a shrinking city, home to 275,000 today, down nearly half from its peak. Investing $2.2 billion into one of the NFL's smallest stadiums is a gamble on identity as much as economics. Nashville is chasing the Super Bowl. Jacksonville is chasing sustainability, but Buffalo is betting that what defines it, snow, wind, and die-hard fans, can be turned into strength. For fans, though, all the engineering and controversy comes down to one thing: hope. The old stadium saw 4 straight Super Bowl losses, the Music City miracle, and decades of heartbreak. The new one? It might finally see the parade Bills fans have been waiting 60 years for. The last season at Highmark Stadium isn't just the end of a building. It's Buffalo betting that its future is worth more than its past. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Buffalo's stadium transformation, hit play on our other videos exploring the world's most ambitious mega builds.